Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to everybody from Fresno County and parts they're close by, as it sounds like. We've got some guests from other places as well. This is the first event that we have in our process, called BeHealth. This first step is called Learn, and it provides everyone interested in our program the opportunity to learn more, ask questions, and make an informed decision about participating in our program. My name is Kevin Popovich. I'm the program director for BeHealth, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Lori Clark, the Chief Program Officer at the Social Policy Institute at San Diego State University. Welcome this afternoon, Lori.
Thank you, Kevin. We are so excited to be with all of you in Fresno and Kings County and parts beyond, but really want to give a shout out to our partners in Fresno County who have really helped us to get the word out and to get started. So by way of overview, I just want to say a couple of words to get us started. What is BeHealth anyway? Well, what we're here for is to provide an opportunity for transition age youth, their friends and family, and also members of the members of the community. It's all about relationships, right? So the idea is to come together and to generate new ideas about innovating behavioral health. And during this event, we're going to unpack that and say much more about what that means. So again, as Kevin said, I am with San Diego State University Social Policy Institute, and we are partnering with the Idea Guy, our very own Kevin Popovich, to bring this event to you. And then again, our partners, while we bring ideas that have been tested over time that you'll hear about today, we're all about the relationships and about partnering. So some of the folks that we're partnering with within Fresno County already, you see their logos there. We're deeply grateful to the Department of Behavioral Health, who is really sponsoring this event and has created the opportunity for this to happen. And you see some of the other organizations there as well, many of whom are very closely partnering with us, and we're appreciative of that. You know, we're mindful that we're in San Diego, you're in Central California. While we're bringing you some fresh ideas, we don't for a minute pretend to know you in your county and your various communities and your needs. So that's really what's behind the partnership. It's our way of working together to get this right and to bring you something that's not just a program, but that's practical and has some real meaning for you.
Okay. Now, as we get started here, I'd like you to just stop, take a minute, and get ready to be focused and a little mindful, right? We have all taken some time out of our schedules together to meet one another, to learn about each other. So I just want you to kind of just get yourself in that mindset that we're here to focus on how might we be able to make positive change for transition age youth in Fresno. All right, so this is get to the fun part, because this is what I get to tell you about, the thing that we made for you. So BeHealth is based on work that I've done as the Idea Guy. And as the Idea Guy, my job is to help people come up with new ideas that solve problems, issues, challenges, whatever the vernacular that you may use may be. And I found that people can quickly identify real problems, organize teams online, and execute what I'll show you to be an innovation funnel. It's the graphic I'm showing you here, to create solutions easier, faster, and better, right? The innovation funnel works in a multi-step process, and that's what I'm showing you here. And I'll go more into details about this, but it is the learn, work, develop, and present. Those are the steps that generate the ideas at the very end. So we learn about some things together, we work on them together, we develop the best ideas, and when we present them for consideration, and that's how we're going to make change in behavioral health. So it all makes sense. And of course, if anybody has any questions at any time along the way, you can raise your hand and you can post questions in the chat. My team is monitoring that, and we'll make sure that everybody is able to get that going. All right. So as we look at the learn mode, right? This is really about helping everybody understand issues and opportunities, right? So I keep saying that in Learn, as much as it is getting you up to speed on a program, that's getting us up to speed on Fresno and your community and the people involved and the perspectives of the people involved, right? Because everybody sees something. And so we want to help everybody involved in the problems that we see learn about what each of us is seeing from our perspectives. There's a little learn, there's some networking. You get to meet some people perhaps in your area that you have not got a chance to meet before. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of learn together. Right? Now, today, our program around Learn, we've got obviously some specific things we want to account for. Obviously, this overview of BeHealth, overview of issues. Lori will walk us through, review the program, and specifically what's in it for you. Right? We know everybody has got only X amount of time, and there's a lot of different things that we prioritize. So I want to make sure that you understand what other transition age youth has seen in the program and got out of it, so you can make an informed decision as, is this program right for me? I will share a couple stories from when we've run this program before and what we learned. I'll give you a crash course on design thinking, which is a process for creating new ideas. And then I'll give you a little sneak peek into some really cool technology called Idea Scale. When we get down to all the work, we get a little playtime at the end of the program. We'll also show you how you can get some fabulous merchandise just like this, and this, and this, and this by participating. So you have an opportunity to earn some of this different gear that are tools to help you along the way by your participation. So that's what we're going to do today. Sounds like quite a lot, doesn't it, Lori?
It does. So, you know, I'm excited about that merch too, and I've got my own water bottle and t-shirt on the way, so fun. So let's dig into those issues. So what I wanted to share is that when we're talking about behavioral health or BeHealth, we're really emphasizing the health part. It comes with wellness and resiliency, and of course there are many issues that go with it, and because there are so many issues related to behavioral health, that's why we need so many ideas. And so this program is all about bringing that innovation. So we've got a definition here of BeHealth or behavioral health. It basically means the promotion, again, of positive mental health, resilience, and well-being. It also includes treatment of mental health and substance use disorders. So those two used to be pretty separate, but we consider them both included within BeHealth or behavioral health. And as I mentioned earlier, the idea here is that we're not only supporting the transition age youth who may be working with, thinking about, struggling with one or more behavioral health issues, but because of the community approach, it includes friends, family, and community support people as well. So let's talk about some of these issues. The first one that I want to mention is adverse childhood experiences. And basically what we're talking about here is events or a series of events that may have happened in childhood that really have a lasting impact into transition age years and even into adulthood. So these include things like child abuse and neglect, family violence, loss of a loved one, and there are others, but that's the kind of flavor with that. And what we find with adverse childhood experiences, not all of them are experienced as trauma, which is our next issue, but some of them are. And so the idea that we're thinking about here is that within trauma, we know that it's widespread and pervasive, and most of the time it doesn't go away on its own. So one of the issues that many TAE are working through is a level of trauma and its impact that they have experienced. So we want to create an open door and some opportunity for creative and innovative ways to address that. We also look at youth mental health overall. And so again, there are lots of issues included here: gun violence, the impact of COVID-19 and this global pandemic that we're in the middle of. And, you know, part of what we think about, and you all may have heard this saying before as well, we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. And so there are a variety of resources for navigating what is happening, what the issues are. And this program is about bringing ideas and teams together to help us figure out good ways of moving forward. We also want to name as an issue suicide prevention. For those of you that may not be aware, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States right now. And the percentage is higher, sadly and unfortunately, for transition age youth. So we want to bring this issue into awareness, into an openness, to be able to recognize the signs and to know what to do once we recognize those signs. Also, we want to look at the area of treatment and recovery, as I mentioned, from, you know, the definition that it includes part of that, which is the reality. But we have the opportunity to say, how do we reduce the stigma? How do we increase access? How do we make it not an onerous thing to go to or to do, but something that plays a meaningful role in helping Tay to become the person that they want to be? And then finally, I want to call out wellness. I want to come back full circle, that whether we're struggling currently with issues or not, the idea is we want to focus on living life to its fullness. What is our pathway forward? Where are we going? How can we contribute to our own wellness and to wellness for others within our community? So this is a range of issues, along with addiction and substance abuse, yet another. So this is sort of the, you know, idea of any of these areas could become an issue of focus, that within this program, youth and their teams can come together to create a way forward.
Yeah, you know, and then just to build on that, Lori, I think that, you know, the last one, just recognizing the symptoms. So there's all these issues that we have, right? But, you know, how might we see something early in order to mitigate the impact, right? And that's what a lot of people have been trying to figure out. So there's lots of things for us to talk about. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things for us to talk about, but there's also a lot of opportunities for us to be able to make a positive change. Right? So we've identified the different issues now, right? How are we going to come up with these ideas that help innovate around these? So again, the process for BeHealth follows this innovation funnel model. And I want to give you a kind of a quick story, because, you know, whenever I attend things like this, I'm like, why should I listen to the guy on the webinar or the girl on the webinar? I'm very interested in why I should listen. So, you know, this stuff all came from when I was teaching at San Diego State. I was teaching creativity and innovation and management, which means I was teaching people how to be creative. And in that, I learned that there was a lot of youth who didn't have a lot of confidence in their creativity, and they didn't believe that they could change the things in the world that they wanted to. So I oriented my TED Talk around how creativity can change the world one bad drawing at a time. And I showed them how even those bad little doodles that you do on your notebook, or that you do like on your desk and you're not supposed to write on your desk, there's meaning in that, right? And a lot of people were very concerned about sharing those doodles and whatnot with somebody else, because, oh, I'm not very good. But I showed them that those doodles have a very important role, and it's to communicate the things that are in your head, because sometimes words just don't work. Right? So I will share a link to the end of this, but I want you to take away two things. One, you are all more creative than you think that you are, and also that you do have the power to make change. That's my big message. Everybody has the power to make change. I'm going to show you how to do it. right? And this process I was able to test with the 42,000 students, faculty, and everybody else that was at SDSU for years. How to get up in front of a bunch of people and help them be more creative. In fact, that's how Steve Hornberger and I met, and this whole team came together. And then what we learned is that I could teach these things to individuals. This is my staff at Zip Idea Lab. And each one of them was able to come in and learn how they can make change. And then they were able to help other people learn to make change. So much so that this is what I got when I got out the door, which was the big giant autographed skateboard, which I still treasure and keep in my studio, which is all the kids, again, the same age bracket, that says, thanks KP for helping me believe that I could do this, and I could, right? So I share this as pieces of proof because I'm bringing the same thing that I did at State and the Idea Lab for all those youth to this program. Right? And that's what I want to make sure that everybody understands. It's not like, hey, we're just going to do this little bit, this. You lean in, we're going to lean in. And we're going to do this together every step of the way. So you don't have to know anything outside of you want to learn more and you want to make change. Okay? So the learn mode is where we're at today, right? And it looks very much like you're seeing in most of your screens if we got all this to work right? I'm on a screen, you got people off to the side, and on any device, you're able to participate. And then as we move forward, we'll get into some other technologies like Idea Scale. This is something else I'll show you. It's an innovation management platform, and you can go and you share your problems, and you can vote ideas up and down, and you can work with other people to make your ideas better, so that when we get into development mode, you already have some progress made on that. So you don't have to worry about, again, you don't have to know anything. You just have to say, KP, that looks pretty cool. I want to learn more, and we will get you into that. When we're done with Learn today, we want to get you into work, right? And work is the workshop. Now we're going to work on our ideas, right? In this workshop, it's designed to generate new ideas and build a prototype, right? And this is actually a prototype from one of the workshops that we did at BeHealth. Right, so all a prototype does, it's a visual demonstration of the idea that you have that you can hold up to say, this is my idea, let me talk about it, right? It's this and this and this and this and this. And it allows you to get feedback, right? So we'll talk about the different things we can make prototypes out of, and you'll be able to further your idea, right? Because all this stuff is iteration, right? You come up with an idea and you make it better, and you turn in a prototype and you make it better, and then you test it and you make it better. Right? And then there'll be some other software like Mural. Like Mural is kind of like, you got anybody know Prezi, right? So it's like Prezi and Post-it notes, right? You kind of smush it together. That's what Mural is. So Mural's another fun technology that you get to play with. And I wanted to show you this, right? Because there's a quick little video clip. I figure that because you don't know me and what I can do, I've got a quick clip from a video, which I'm showing you a still from, of some students who've been through my program in the past, and I'm going to let them tell you what they got out of it.
I worked on making a solution for a problem that I learned that he had. But through the process, I learned that I shouldn't be scared of having bad ideas. That it's just part of the process, and it's about refining the bad ideas and getting to better ones.
We basically learned how to prototype, think of ideas, do an iterative process of like drawing everything out and talking to us about, and really arrive at a design working together with someone so you can iron out something awesome.
Today, I'm part of the idea workshop with President Popovich, and he really helped me gain a lot of epiphanies about how I was approaching my creative concepts and how I could work on them and how I could positively get feedback from other people. And all in all, it was just a great way to expand my way of thinking, way of approaching problems and solutions.
Well, obviously we can't be doing that in person at the moment, but we can be working together. And that's really kind of what that's meant to demonstrate, that we work together through every little step, and that if these youth can do it, I have every confidence in you that you can participate as well, right? So this gets us at the end of workshop and then moves us into develop, right? Now, when you come out of workshop, right? You have this idea and like, hey, that sounds pretty good. And, you might find other people who are interested in the same type of ideas. We're going to put you together on teams. So you can do it by yourself. You could do it with your friends. You could show up and not know anybody and find other people that are in the same stuff that you are, right? But you'll come together through the develop phase to work on your project. So you're going to take the idea you had at a workshop and you're really going to turn it into something. And this will be a 2 or 3-ish week span that you'll get coached online, both at the same time and at different times using our application called Basecamp. And that's what I'm showing you. So again, from any device, it's kind of like Dropbox meets chat with a little social network involved in it. Everything you need for your projects in one place. There's a little schedule that tells you when stuff is due. And I am available through your whole project when you have questions and when you need help. My job is to make you look like a rock star at the end of your presentation. Right? So again, you don't have to know anything. You just have to say, I want to learn, I want to help, I want to develop an idea, and we will coach you through all of that. This is a couple screens.
I want to just say a quick word about that too, because you've shown us a whole lot of technology, and I'm excited about the online whiteboard, frankly, of using stickies virtually, sticky notes and moving things around, and I've seen it work with you, and I just love that. It's a lot of fun. And I'm one of these people that thought, oh, that's too high tech for me. I can never figure it out. But I just wanted to take a moment to pause for everyone and say that we're already anticipating that some of you on the call with us today, you're already at the top of your game with all kinds of technology. It'll be easy for you. It'll be very fluid, while others maybe not so familiar. This is not something that you have to come in with high tech. It's great if you do, but it's fine if you don't. We're going to coach you through every step of the way. And if something like what you're seeing right now isn't familiar, even Zoom, we're going to do the coaching. We're going to provide the support that will bring everybody along and help us to be together in very strong and successful teams.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. We definitely see different demographics have different aptitudes for technology. So as we get into this stuff, I'll tell you kind of what it's like from things that you know already. And again, my job is to make you comfortable with all this stuff in order for you to continue to participate. So again, as long as you just stay open and curious, you're going to have a chance to learn quite a lot of new things along the way. And you have to, in the short-term thing is that you'll be able to complete the program. The long-term thing is you're building your skill set. Like, you're not going to unlearn like a process. Like, once you learn the process, like, oh, if I do this and this and this and this and this, I can come up with a new idea. Well, you take that moving forward with you on any other personal projects. You take that into your job. I was sharing with Dr. Pimentel from Fresno County this morning that 3 of the students that were on my team took what they learned and they were able to get jobs because they knew this process. So there's a lot in it for you in the short term that you get to impact what goes on in your community and how it impacts you. But that long term is you learn a skill that helps you be better than you are, no matter what you get into. Okay. So a couple of the things I want to show you what it looks like. This is me working with the team. It looks very much like this. We get into a webcam, we throw some stuff on the screen. I share, you share, we look at stuff together, and we just work on stuff. Probably not too dissimilar than maybe you do homework like in group projects right now. And we go through all the steps, and then I coach you on how to best present that idea. It's around storytelling, because you will get in front of a bunch of people. Kind of like this, again, what a full Zoom looks like. I just did one for Design for San Diego. We had 201 people that my team had to present up in front of. But again, my job is to make sure you're prepared for that, and you guys look like rock stars when you stand up there, so that people understand what you're seeing, the change you want to make, and how your idea might make that change happen. Right? So that's why I'm coaching you through that. We did this from a group here in the BeHealth program when we ran it in San Diego. This was a girl who had an idea for a suicide prevention app. And all she had was this idea like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could do something to impact suicide? And at the end of our program, she was able to stand up, tell the story of why she wanted to do it, which was very moving. You know, most of us have personal reasons or some connection to somebody that motivates us to work on different things. She was able to show screenshots of, hey, maybe the app looks like this, because I was able to show her a way to kind of comp up what the app looks like. And at the end of the presentation, you had people that were interested in her app, right? And that's how this stuff all works. So during your presentation, you'll get feedback that, again, is intended to make your idea better and to help answer the questions that people have about doing something with your idea. Right? So that's, we want to come in, we want to generate new ideas, but we want to make changes. And I just want you to understand that at the end of this process, right, that's where ideas come from. If you do these things in a row, I guarantee you will generate ideas. I've done it for too many years. It's what I'm good at. It's what I'm responsible for. And it's what I'm committed to in helping you reach your goals. So I would like to just mention our next registration is open for those of you who already want to come into the workshop. It's at our Eventbrite page. It's at the BeHealth website, behealth.today/events, and that's called Work. We've got a different name, we've got a different picture to change it up. So please consider registering for that. Now, I will point out that the date is not set yet and we're going to do a survey here in just a moment about dates. So the registration is good. You can register right now if you were so inclined to jump so. But know that we'll likely be changing the date and time based on the feedback that we get from this Learn and the next Learn next Thursday. And please consider too, if you see some value in this program, especially the youth that are attending today, please share it out with your friends with your insight and perspective on it. Again, we see what we see in it. I'm assuming you're going to see something in it. And we are trying to reach the most people in your community. So we would appreciate any shares you can get. And we are all on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and that's all that we're at right now. So please share what you can. Lori, the next thing we wanted to chat with a little bit of some stories, and we work together in San Diego as well, and I thought you could just take people through a little bit, maybe some story sharing from what you remember some of these, as you thought they may be relevant with our audience today.
Yeah, so these were some great ideas that came up out of the San Diego team. You've already heard about the gal on the top right that had the suicide prevention app that was customized to the issues and to the users that she knew in her own setting. So that was very exciting. Top left, we had a whole team that came together with the idea of having a mobile treatment. And the premise here was that the last thing a person wants to do is walk into the emergency room. When they're already upset, they're already having a behavioral health crisis, that's not where they want to go. So it was really changing the setting, making it much more accessible, making it possible to have some of the environment that someone would be willing to go into and want to go in order to seek the treatment that they need. Bottom row in the middle there, we had a team that came together around an idea of outpatient to outdoors. So this went even beyond the concept of mobile. It's like, okay, where's the wellness and the positive mental health in getting out of doors and connecting with nature? But while engaging in an activity, how do we also do things that will build and reinforce positive mental health? Right. And then finally, I'll just say on the bottom left, collective yoga. So the team here basically said, look, I love yoga. It's so wonderful and healthy for me. And the truth is, $20 a class may not seem like a lot to you, but it's a lot to me to go several times a week, which I'd love to do. So the whole idea here was to have a community-based approach where available opportunities for yoga on a sliding scale could be made possible. So this is just a handful of the ideas, and we wanted to share some of those just to give you a flavor of some of the ideas that are already bubbling up, and to get you thinking about which issue do you want to lean into, and begin imagining some of the ideas that will come to you as well.
So we've mentioned just a little bit around design thinking, but design thinking is the process that all this stuff is based on. The model, the graphic that you see here is a model for the process. And I'll go through and explain each one of them, how they work together. And this is part of what I consider the design thinking crash course. Most people haven't heard about design thinking. Those who have maybe aren't sure exactly what it is. And I'll give you something I think is a simple definition. But it's a process for coming up with new ideas that solve problems. And everything in design thinking starts by understanding what the problem is. All right. And when I'm talking about understanding the problem, we create what's referred to as a problem statement. And we'll review ours here in a second. But the problem statement has 4 parts to it. It always starts with how might we, because it's about potential, right? And it's help who, do what, achieve what goal. And then we add a little fire on it to get people excited on the end. But this gives us a sentence that starts being like, how might we help youth in Fresno better understand the challenges ahead of them so they may better prepare for their future. Right? That's a problem, example of a problem statement. That's what we're working with here, right? It is when we start with the problem at the center, everything that we do around the problem helps us better understand it and do something about it. So design thinking starts with empathize. And when we say empathize, right, it's just like empathy. It's developing an emotional connection to the people involved in the problem. And there's different levels of this understanding, research, observation, engagement, ethnography. And we'll lead you through different exercises that help reveal that learning. But we want to understand the people involved, right? We started with the problem, right? And now we know who's involved in the problem, we think, right? So we start building empathy around that. And then with that knowledge, we want to define, right? We want to make sure that we're working on the right problem. Because many times, and maybe you've seen this from your own perspectives, you see people say, there's a problem with this, a problem with this, a problem with this. Hey, we should do something, and a bunch of people do stuff. But the problem doesn't go away, right? And often it's because they're working on the wrong problem, right? And we'll get into some examples during a workshop that'll speak to that more. But I want to make sure if you see something you want to change, that you're working on the right problem so that the change happens. I use the example, if anybody's ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first one, when Indiana Jones realizes the bad guys aren't going to find the treasure because they're digging in the wrong place. And I think that's why problems don't get resolved, because they're digging in the wrong place. The problem's really over here, and you've been digging over here. You dig here, you can dig, but the problem's over here. Right? So that's what we want to make sure that you understand. Once you define the problem and you're positive of what the problem actually is, then we can do something about that and come up with new ideas. Now we want to come up with a bunch of different ideas that help people solve that problem. Those ideas are then visualized as prototypes, like the example that I showed you with the Legos. We take those and share them with other people to test or get feedback on what those ideas are, and then we make any changes that we need to, and then we're able to present those ideas to others, so we're able to gather feedback. So together, that's how this works as a process, and that's how this process solves problems. So I want you to think of design thinking really as planned thinking, and this is different than maybe what you've done in the past, where you're like, hey, let's come up with an idea. And then somebody says, okay, what do you think we should do? And you're like, I don't know. What do you think you should do? Well, that's not much of a process. So that's brainstorming, but you can't really count on brainstorming being done when you need it, right? So this planned thinking usually takes the form of something like this, where we actually plan out, we're going to do this on this day, we're going to do this next, and then when this gets done, then we could do the next thing. And all this does is it documents what you're going to do so that you have something to manage against, instead of it being like, did you get anything? No, it didn't really come up yet. What do you think you're going to be done? I don't know, right? That's not a process, right? So we want to give you a process for moving forward, right? Any questions about design thinking? I know we came quickly, right? And I wanted to kind of show you that quick overview. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or post the question into chat, and then I'll make sure that we get them addressed for you, okay? So Lori, the next thing we've got to do is talk about, again, our workshop, which is coming up in the next 2 weeks. So again, if this is making sense to you, I ask that you go ahead and register so we can get a good idea of who might wants to be in that workshop. And we'll make sure that if you have any questions about registration, that we get them answered, about what's going to be asked of you. And of course, you know, any of your friends that you think may get something out of this, they are very, very welcome to join you. In fact, many times we have people showing up with a couple of their friends. It says, hey, we're not sure what we want to work on, but we wanted to do this together. Or they'll get another group that says, hey, we've been thinking about this thing. Can you help us make our idea better, right? Any of these scenarios around that, we are able to contribute.
You find like-minded people that have similar interests, and you may just end up deciding you'd like to work together and combine efforts. So whether it's on your own or with a team, there's lots of different ways to go about that.
Correct. So Lori, I think, you know, as we're getting ready to summarize before I go into a little bit of idea scale stuff, I just want to encourage everybody involved to do something, right? You know, sometimes, you know, people say it's easy to complain, it's harder to do something about it. But as Kylene had said in her video, which I might give you a sneak peek of here in a second, change does not happen without action, right? So if you want something to change, you have to do something about it. And the first step that you can do is to register for our workshop. Recruit some others to join you. And again, I want you to take away from this that you do have the ability to make change in your world, in Fresno, as it impacts your life. You just got to do something about it. Lori, you have anything you'd like to add on to that?
Oh, I just think that's so right on track, Kevin. It's like the bottom line is we're all about change these days. The whole world has been going through some radical changes, and I think we're already primed to tell ourselves and to tell each other that it's possible, it can be for the better, and we can control it. So very excited about that possibility.
I am as well. So again, please share out that workshop. And we'll look forward to have people participating in that.
And really appreciate your being here with us in the conversation. If you think of a question or comment after we're done here, please contact any one of us or go through the website, and we'd love to have a further conversation with you, to acknowledge, to dialogue. And again, really just want to encourage everyone to reach out to the transition age youth you know, and encourage them to register for the next Learn event.